Hi there, this is Pete Howard, Director of Concert Posters for Heritage Auctions. And what we have here is nothing less, this is a big one here, San Francisco's first ever psychedelic concert poster. You almost have to hear that a couple of times to really believe it. The San Francisco Bay Area where psychedelic concert posters were born, and this is numero uno, way out in front. Wow, a tribute to Dr. Strange. Just mega early from October 1965. This is a real personal favorite of mine. I never make that up. I can blog the greatest posters and I'll never say it's a personal fave unless it really is. And this one, I just adore it. And there are several reasons. First of all, it's a major first. My goodness, both the event and the poster, the first psychedelic SF concert poster. I do love firsts. I used to collect rookie baseball cards, whatever, as a kid. It's got both the Jefferson Airplane with a really cool little graphic, of the airplane, buzzing along, and Great Society with Grace Slick. So you've got, it's always nice when you have the airplane and the Great Society together. It's got this wildly trippy and yet somehow very innocent psychedelic artwork. Now that's a retrospective statement, retroactive. At the time, was this innocent? The exact opposite. No, it was absolutely insane at the time. And that's what you really have to get your head wrapped around is in, the perspective of this in the context of 1965. Wow. And it has some order to it. I just really love the way it's got 4 quadrants that are sort of, have their own job to do on the poster. The upper left quadrant has the promoter and the event name. Granted, in the most far out lettering, you can't even call them fonts, just the most far out lettering and words you could possibly use, to get that information across. In the upper right, there's a description of the event. In the lower left, there's the talent lineup and ticket information. And in the lower right, you've got the date, the time, the venue, and the ticket prices. So as far as the talent, notice that it says for the MC is Russ the Moose Syracuse. Well, there's got to be a master of ceremonies at these things. And he was an all-night DJ at KYA Radio in San Francisco. You might recall that KYA appears prominently on the final Beatles concert tickets that we sell with many auctions. And then you've got the Jefferson Airplane, the Charlatans, of course, the always present and important Charlatans. The Marbles were out of Oakland, California, and then the Great Society. And they were all playing at Longshoremen's Hall at Fisherman's Wharf. Another thing I adore about this poster, we all love the Fillmore Auditorium and the Avalon and so forth. Longshoremen's Hall smacks of one thing, and that is early, innocent, acid tests and things like that. And so it's just great it took place at Longshoremen's Hall. And the artwork on this poster you might be wondering about. Well, Alton Kelley, one of the original 4 founding members of the first iteration of the Family Dog, and Amy McGill put this together. In fact, the Art of Rock, it would have been blasphemy if they didn't, but the Art of Rock did give this a full page. It's certainly well-deserved that there could be a 2-page poster in the Art of Rock. This should get it. By the way, this is not, of course, the Family Dog that Chet Helms picked up in early '66. This is the first, as I said, iteration of the Family Dog of just 4 hippie friends who decided to pool their money and throw 3 dance concerts and name them after comic book characters. What a fun idea that was. We have to remember that since this is the first, that up till this moment, advertising anywhere, I guess you could say in the world, certainly in the Bay Area, was legible, writing and letters and words that you wouldn't have to struggle to read. It just got that information across, almost like you were walking by it, and that's the way advertising was done. So for this to come along, it was like the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco. It was just a seismic shift in advertising, and this was, the counterculture basically taking its first step and starting to rise up. So, for those reasons, it's just, very, very special, very special. This signaled that the counterculture was coming. And it's such a rarity. I mean, you can imagine they didn't run these like Bill Graham posters or anything, or even early Family Dogs. No, this is talk about a budget. You want to talk about budget limitations. So this is only the second one Heritage has ever been able to offer, and the other was a few years ago, and it got close to $30,000. They did make smaller paper handbills, of course, especially being on a budget. Once in a while, you'll see one of those for sale, but these board posters, just absolutely forget about it. In fact, I love the little printer's union bug down there in the lower right corner. It's just so clear and crisp and clean. Just such a nice little authenticity feature. And then finally, the event itself, a tribute to Dr. Strange. I mean, it was a seismic event in pop culture history. My gosh, Longshoremen's Hall got packed with like 1,000 hippies who were finally able to show up and in public do what they'd been doing in the privacy of their own homes for the last few months or whatever, and that is let their freak flag fly. And everybody was doing it at this, and many, of course, were tripping on LSD, needless to say, and they were meeting each other for the first time, and a movement was starting to be born. It's so seminal. I just love that aspect of this poster. And no liquor was sold, but who needed it, right? Nope, something like a liquor license would have been way above the pay scale of the promoters that had for this show. The very first Family Dog dance concert, the very first Family Dog poster, the very first psychedelic concert poster. It's nuts, it's crazy.